sign in. That would be, thank you, sir. And I was going to do like a little go around the room and tell us who you are, but we might be here all day doing that. I don't know. Should we? No. I think that's in the beer time, you're right. So I'm Connie Koonce, and this is my first adjutant training membership. And I've asked Beth to kind of sit in here with me to help me with running it. First time you all know her. We're ahead, right? So we'll go ahead and get started. So you all should be familiar with Article 1, Section 4, 5A. If you are not, this would be a good time to do so. If you're taking notes, write down that Article 1, Section 4, 5A. This is where you will find all your information on the Department Action and Finance Officer. As your adjutant, I think one of the biggest things you'll do is your meeting minutes, because that's pretty much your Bible. It's everything that happens in your meeting. It's who firsts and seconds and discussions. Everything that happens in your meeting has to be documented. What I like to do, because I've been doing it for about 4 years now for the district, is to record it. That way I can keep up better. And then at the beginning of the meeting, we always ask permission. I think we did it the first year just to make sure that everybody was okay with me recording the minutes, because even if I have Zane, he's the chair, and we have an agenda, things happen during a meeting that sometimes you just don't catch. And it's a good idea to do that. That's part of what rolls into the next part of it is all of our committee activities, manages all of the administrative functions and the committees with all the chairs. So any correspondence that comes in, that's something that you will work with your chair on, and other people within your organization, whether it is it would be the same for me for the 5th district, because he is the district chair, or if it's any other correspondence that might need other people involved, like say at the department level. I've had that happen. I've had other entities, whether it be at the post. So you are really that connection. You're the glue. And as the adjutant finance officer, you'll find that what you're doing is relaying a lot of messages and taking notes on those messages, and then being prepared for when you're asked about whatever you've corresponded. Because I guarantee you'll get a call, you'll get a text, you'll get an email. Somebody's going to have a question about something.
It's so distracting.
What, the machines? Do you have any questions? Any real life experiences out there? Not yet? So Article 1, Section 6 is Assistant Adjutant Finance Officer, and I tried so hard to make this a bigger role because, I would like for them to fix me lunch and bring my slippers, but that just didn't fit into this category, unfortunately. But they do have a lot of responsibilities with being an assistant to the actual adjutant finance officer. They're going to be your right-hand person with helping remember things. Like I said, that's why I do record, but it's also good to have your assistant that you can reach out to. And I try to always copy them on everything that you do, whether it be the meeting minutes, the maintaining of the records, managing your SOPs. I know we just had one recently where Mary Tarnowski is who I'm mentoring to come in to take over the position at our district level. And I will forward her all the emails, here, this is what's going on. And she is such a help because I don't have any distractions, I don't have anything that I'm missing. And then, of course, having Zane, Sue, it's just your team. So this position right here is very key and vital to making you better leader and adjutant, and also for them to learn how to be the next adjutant finance officer. Any questions? Financial?
I'm Connie. I have a question. So has the assistant adjutant position been added to the new SOP?
Yes, it has.
It has? Okay. I haven't looked at it, so I apologize, but I just want to make sure.
It was added and approved at the DEC, never mind.
Okay, okay.
This is a new position.
It's new. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, with the new SOP coming out, we need to get busy brushing up and learning and being able to ask these questions also as the adjutant. Okay, so Article 5, Section 7, the duties, 3A. This is, to me, when you're digging down into what you do as an adjutant, you are helping to maintain those membership records. And part of that duty includes, learning about that person, about that rider. Whether they are a member, what they have is a motorcycle license, maybe they're a supporter. I know that some posts now have supporters. So they don't have a motorcycle license, but they support, and they'll be a cager. And that's very important too, because sometimes you need that followed. You need somebody to follow. They also, which is really important, send out the delinquent notices to the members. It happens, we all know that. I was very confused when I started with American Legion, I'll honestly say that, because I said, wait, so when do I pay my dues? Because I had paid like twice one year. And then one year I missed it entirely because I thought it was like a fiscal year, and then I thought it was like the calendar years. It can be very confusing. And as the adjutant and part of the membership role, you want to make sure that you're giving the correct information to your entire congregation of members. That way, when the questions do arise, that there are no questions. Because a lot of times, you don't get the right answer. And yet, that's why we have this here, so you know exactly what happens at your chapter. As your adjutant, at your chapter, you know exactly when your dues are due, your membership dues are due, and you also know what happens, say, if you're behind a month. Does that mean you need to be reread in? Those are questions that come up, and the answer is no. But it is at your discretion also of the chair. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if it goes over a year that your membership dues are not paid, then you might have to be read back in. I think that is the case.
Goes by chapter.
Goes by chapter. So, depending on what your chapter enforces and has in your SOP.
Our chapter
It
is a
would be in
month.
your
The standing rules.
Or sorry, standing rules, yes.
Our chapter is a month.
A month. That's good. You get to meet them all over again. Do you throw pies in their faces? Any questions?
Good to hear, Connie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it doesn't pertain to this. I'm new to this, so I'm kind of confused. Is the secretary the same as the adjutant?
Yes.
Okay, then what's the finance officer?
That's a separate position.
Yes. Separate position.
Right.
In a separate position?
No?
But it can be both. It can be
That's confusing.
That's the asterisk right there.
Yeah, the asterisk. In smaller chapters, the action may also be required to assume the finance officer position. So if you
Okay.
don't have enough people.
So if we have a finance officer and we have an adjunct secretary, then the roles are separate? Okay.
Yes.
Definitely.
But this part is just for the finance officer then?
This is for-
Well, you have your adjutant, but it also is including some of the finance officer duties.
Uh-huh.
So you'll understand that you would have to pick up that role.
Okay.
That you can't just assume you're gonna have the finance officer.
Right, okay.
And luckily, I've only been involved with being an adjutant, not the finance officer. Yes.
So I had a question. 283, if you don't know, your flex are not safe. When we were looking at the SOPs this year, when we updated our standing rules recently, a question came up as to membership, as far as the way the SOP was written. You have to be licensed and legally insured, but the order doesn't require you to have insurance. So does that mean that you have to have insurance that you have to be a member, or no?
No, it goes by the state laws, and I'm pretty sure that is the case.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other question was, if somebody had a bike and they no longer ride, do they fall to this? Do they change from rider to supporter status? And are supporters counted in our monthly reports to the district?
No, they don't fall off as
No,
a supporter.
They still stay
They
a rider?
still say a rider.
Okay, and our supporters counted in our
Yes.
membership? Yeah.
Under their SAL, auxiliary, or Legion title role.
Mhm.
So that's why when we do our reports, that's why we break it out like we do.
Right.
You could be a supporter, you could be auxiliary. Whatever. Okay. Article 5, Section 7, duties through lead. This is the finance officer that we were discussing. This is the money person. So as the membership, I guess, leader, you'll be collecting those dues, whether it's 15, 20, 25, I don't know how much they are at each chapter, but you'll be collecting these monies and you'll be, like it says here, depositing the funds into the bank that's provided by your chapter. And you'll be also providing financial reports. And that's pretty much, I think, the bulk of what the finance officer does. Is there any other duties other than that?
Well, any kind of event that you would have, you're responsible
For collecting those?
for collecting all of that and depositing it. Also, if you were to make banks, so if you have raffles or if you have registration, you want to make sure that you have separate banks on that, so you can account for that separately.
Anything money related?
Anything money related.
Right.
And it's real important, like I said, like she said, providing the financial report, so you as there's the combination of an adjutant and finance officer, you must have that report for your monthly meeting, and you must provide a copy of that financial report back to your post adjutant, because we're under them. They gotta know our finances, because that's where it's reported, that's underneath the post itself.
So that brings up a question for me. What about audits? How does that fit into this?
As far as audits, again, I think it's gonna depend on the size of your chapter and the size of your post. If you, as the chapter finance officer, have everything, line by line, pretty much there it is, but.
An audit, like she said, all finances, sons, riders, that all falls under the Legion, the post. So an audit, as the post's finance officer, I want to have a good relationship with my rider's finance, because when it comes time for audit time, that rider's finance is going to be sitting right next to me answering the question. The overall responsibility would be to the post, but the finance, the ALR finance, and the post need to be close.
Don?
So you're required, as a riders group, your finance officer from the post has got to be on, if you have a separate account in your riders, your finance officer from the post has to be on that account. Like Jason said, because we fall up under the post commander. So, as far as auditing is concerned, as long as you run everything through the post, the only one that's going to get audited is the post, because they're the responsible for us. So when you do all these fundraising, goes right into the post, right? Not necessarily have to give them all that money, but what I'm saying is that anything written, any check that you write as a donation or to a charity or whatnot, that money needs to go into the post. The post cut the check and give it to them. It's auditable, as long as it's.
That's not necessarily true.
No.
I mean, and again, according to the post bylaws and constitution,
Right.
so it could be that way for certain posts, but other posts it's not.
Yeah, not all posts, just like, we have the SOPs and then we have our standing rules. Okay, SOPs are standard throughout the department. Standing rules are adjustable and modified or amended to your post. Those are your specific posts. Every chapter is not going to operate the same. Like out of my posts, the riders have an account under the Legion, but it is their account. Our finance officer is a signer on it, and the ALR finance officer is a signer on it. Okay? But it is their dedicated account. They have their own checks, they have, but
So how's it audited? That's my.
it all falls under the.
That's my point. My account is an American Legion account. However, all the big ticket items or whatever, I send through the post, because the post is the ones that get audited, not the riders. So if we're writing checks, and the post doesn't know anything about, well, the finance officer's gonna know it, but it's apples and oranges. So if it all just goes through that same pipeline, then that's the auditable line item, and then there's no question.
You don't have to write a big check, you have to ask your post to vote on it?
No.
And the writers can vote on it.
No, the writers make all the decisions. All I'm saying is the way we do it, and we write some pretty darn big checks. The way we do it is we send it through the post finance, the post, because then that money went into and out of the auditable account.
That's the reason why we also, on a monthly basis, turn in our financial report to the post.
Yes.
Finance, so they know exactly where every dime is going.
And that's also why the post finance officer is on your account also, so they can keep,
Right.
so.
And
Clear as mud.
It is clear as mud.
But it's true for the districts and department also. It's checks and balances. They're there. They're all in place. And just make sure you dot your i's and you cross your t's and you have that spreadsheet available at all times.
Just want to comment that just because you have a separate account, your account is also auditable. So,
It all falls
Yeah,
under the.
exactly.
It's audited through the post.
Right, exactly, but just, you said you give them the big checks, that's the auditable account. Yours is auditable also.
Go ahead.
Of course, Scott, I'm Tennessee, but of course, every department's different. I can just share what we do. Of course, we do what you guys are all talking about. But if it comes down to an audit, usually it's an outside source coming in to audit their post. Like a CPA or something like that we hire that comes in, we have to pay for that. So like if I take over a new post, and I see they've not been audited, then my post is 105-year-old. So if we've never had one, I'm gonna go, before I take command, usually most commanders come in and try to audit the post with the CPA. But that comes out of their pocket at the Legion level, at the post level. Okay, so that's just something we do, and I'm sure you guys all do this as well. At the end of the year, we do an end-of-year financial report when we sit down with the executive board and make sure everything lines up. And we bless off on that as executive board. The writers check, Sal check, post check, and that helps our financial officer with his reports at the end of the year. So that's
This is
just kind of what we do in Tennessee.
And this is a huge rabbit hole, and we could go on for hours, but, and with the time of the meeting, we'll move a little bit forward here.
There's a financial officer training, so come to that if you want to know.
Thank
more
you,
about
yes,
finances.
please, yes, definitely, absolutely, go to the officer, financial officer training, and you'll get all your questions answered there for sure, right? So the adjutant duties, as we discussed, you're gonna support your director. Definitely be their number one fan. And support them wholeheartedly, give them that pat on the back. Don't just keep kicking them in the rear end, because that's not always good. Make sure you keep your minutes and be very accurate. If you have questions, I don't think there's a dumb question in the world, honestly. It's when you don't ask the question that you get yourself in hot water. Try to be timely. I'm definitely a procrastinator, I hate to say it, but I'm trying to work on that. That's on my list of trying to work on things for the year. And then, of course, distribute your minutes via email. I just sent mine out the other day, and Verna and Denny both had comments, and I loved it. That means they're reading them. That is so important. We have officer reporting. Oh, going back to the email, if you get kickbacks, make sure you try to reach out and find out why you have a kickback, because that's so important. There's somebody out there that's missing this, and they really need to know. Officer reporting, CPR and addendum, and then communicate. Make sure you're validating memberships. copies of reports with your minutes as well. Here is an example of the meeting minutes template. And this is online, okay, I think? Yes. So if you don't have one in place, I know when I took over for Verna, she already had something in place. I was like, boom, I'm good to go. So it was just a matter of copy and pasting and make sure that I changed all the pertinent information because pretty much everything stays the same. You know, opening ceremonies, your roll call, except when I skipped roll call of the officers on Sunday because I was obviously in a hurry. But I did go back. I took the roll call of the officers. We have officers reporting. You have your committee reports, old business, new business, city riders, and then of course talk about the next meeting. So for the membership, this is standing rules number 1 is optional position, and membership is one of those if it's not included with your action position, and they will maintain the records. And by maintaining records, that includes everything. You know, you don't want to just have name, address. You want to make sure you have a form. Is that on here as well?
The application itself is under resources online,
Awesome.
or future riders as well.
Yes. So anything that you need, it is online now, so you can just download a copy and keep it on your computer, or just print it out. And as I'm sure they're updated occasionally, but you'll be made aware of that if it ever happens. Yeah, I like this one. Maintain current membership no later than 30 days before their due date. That's always a good one to do. Delinquent notices. I think I was membership for a couple years, so I was separate from the adjutant, and it was a lot of work. Just keeping up with all the paperwork that's involved with the members. All of their pertinent information, safety, emergency contacts, and then, you know, making their cards. And we actually had a laminator, and I would laminate it for them, so it would be sturdy and they wouldn't, you know, lose them or, heaven forbid, wash them in the washing machine like I typically do. Along with challenge coins. That's always a good one. But yeah, this is a big role because you are there to welcome your members and to provide all that pertinent information that they need and require.
If I may add, if you are the membership chair, or if you as the adjutant, or you are also responsible for that, annual renewals, you gotta make sure that they have renewed their Legionnaires or auxiliary or SAL cards before you renew their rider's membership. So you have to be one of the 3 to be a rider. So, and good standing means that you've paid your dues.
Correct. Thank you. Any questions?
And one more thing, just throw in there, I know at our post, when we have an early bird membership drive, and I don't know if everybody else does too. But we set up at the riders as a table too, so that they can, after they renew, they can come right over and renew, and it really saves some time down the road. And our early bird, you either get us like a steak dinner or fish fry or whatever, so when you redo the riders, it's like, well, we don't really have anything to give, so to speak. But what we do is we go buy beer chips. And then we give them a beer chip when they renew early. So that's our little early bird present to them.
Oh, I like this. Yes.
Good, just to add on, everybody knows the early bird, July 1st is, you know, you can start renewing. I know it's not gonna happen to everybody because everybody said on the December 31st. My membership doesn't expire until December 31st. You know, I get it. You're not required to renew until that day. But there's nothing that says you can't try and get your membership on that July 1st.
July to September 30th, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just, it's it's 18 months now, if they do July to, but, I mean, it'll still be a 12-month cycle, but you're doing it in July. You know what I mean? One, it's early bird, you're not having to worry about your renewals, and it helps the post out also because everybody always wants numbers. So, just, like I said, you're not gonna be able to change everybody, but the more you can get on that July 1 date to start their renewals, the easier it'll be for you.
More of the membership at a glance, validation of membership. That's what you were just discussing. Legionnaire Auxiliary SAO, accident waiver, release of liability, and perform routine audits. So keeping the records, maintaining the records. I don't know how far back we go, but I've kept everything that I've ever worked on, and I will hand those off to the next adjutant membership finance person. New members. So once that person, that member, is read in as the new member of the chapter, what we have is some little perks that we give to them, like a welcome letter, provide that accident waiver release, get as much information as we can that's on that paperwork, and of course, the membership card. And actually, I think it is a really good idea if you can print out a copy of your standing rules and just let them know, hey, here's some good reading material. That way, if you have questions, come see me. You read through this, come see me if you have any questions. Here is our required documentation, of course, the membership app, accident waiver, the medication listing, and your emergency contact information. And it is a good idea to keep that on your personal bike. How many of you do that?
We do.
Okay. Something to work on.
It's so important that you have that medication listing and emergency contact, because if you're out riding and something happens, that EMT, whatever, they're gonna wanna know what kind of medicine you're on. So it's really important for them, and you don't maintain it because of HIPAA, okay? But you really wanna encourage them to keep that on their bike. So, and that's the best way to do it.
I know our district had an event happen last year, which was very unfortunate. One of our bikers wrecked, and unfortunately, he had his wife taken off the bike before the wreck. However, he was in such dire straits that he was taken to ICU. They compounded his bike, and his wife's medications were in the bike. She couldn't get her medication for like a week. It was a very long time. All because of him not having everything properly documented. I mean, we thought we were going to lose him. Thankfully, we didn't, and he's doing well now. But he is a true testament to what you should have on your bike and your person and in place at all times, just in case. God forbid.
And the other thing is, none of us are getting younger. And I know there's a lot of riders who are on blood thinners. And they really need to know that, big time. So really, these forms too, of course, are on, under general resources, so I would encourage everyone to,
General resources, write that down, general resources for all your forms. This is a great membership template to use. If you all don't have Excel, might want to look into it. It's a wonderful tool that Microsoft provided that lays everything out for you. And if you ever need any help with that, we have help available. It's just a simple phone call. And it's just walking through things like setting up the table, but I'm pretty sure we already have this set up.
yeah, that's the one that my chapter uses, and it's out there. 'Cause years ago, people go, do you have anything? We don't have a template, but it captures everything about them, how many years that they've been a rider, all the contact information, what the positions are, because at the end of the year, you're also gonna wanna know how many Legionnaires, how many SAL members, how many auxiliary members you have, so this kind of tallies it, there's some formulas in there. So it captures all of that pretty much automatically for you.
Can I back you up for a second? When we're talking about documentation and medications and all that stuff, we contacted, actually our road captain did, went to the EMTs at the fire department locally, and they gave them this file for life folder, and we passed it out to all of our riders, and you write that out, and they recommend putting it in your left vest pocket. That way, if you're ever in an accident, they just reach in, pull it right out. Most of us keep it in our bikes, so you can get it from the EMTs.
And you got that
Where did you get that from where?
Fire department, you get it from fire department.
That's where
That's nice.
we're out of Northport, so,
Thank you.
but somebody
Right.
see it, file,
I'll give you my
File
address.
of life.
Okay, sure.
it's actually made for putting it on your refrigerator.
Yeah.
Well, that's everything for today. Any questions?
On the membership packet that you mentioned, is that something like a file on the website? Or are you just saying those are things that you should have in a membership packet?
That's what I believe that you should.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
Okay, no, I'm just, I didn't know if there was like in the resources of all that was in there. That's all. I didn't know if,
We have been talking about looking at the
Okay.
resources and packaging things a little bit, you know, where it's easier to say, okay, well, this is a new member packet.
yeah,
That,
okay.
and
I'll just,
I'll take that away and let's work on that. Again, I think new members coming in, and if you're not familiar with the American Legion, you
Right,
really don't
absolutely.
know.
right.
So to
No.
have, you know, an SOP, to see what the new rules are, at least they're not, why are you doing what you're doing?
Right, no, I was just wondering if what, it was just information only then. So regarding the SOP, like you were saying, distributing them, we actually uploaded ours to our website. So we can always direct our new incoming members to, and we have the standing rules and constituent bylaws for all our family on our website, so they can go and visit and print if they want or read it whenever. So just,
Either or, yes, absolutely. But yeah, there's a lot online. Yeah.
Go ahead. You know, every meeting I attend, you know, or chapter meetings or whatever, somebody is asking, where do you get that information? How do you know that? You know, I mean, we sit here and we talk about the website. Everybody in here probably knows where the website and the resources are. If you don't know, you're gonna find out this week, okay?
Go to Vernon's class.
yes, come
But
to my class.
I'm just saying, just because, please, you hear this at every event you go to, please don't just let this information end here with you. You know, take this back to your post, with your chapter, and when those questions are asked, is, well, how do you know that? Where's that at? Show them the link, get them to the resources tab, show them, you know, on FloridaLegion.com. Let your other members know where all that stuff is. One, it will help on a lot of those questions at a meeting, well, where did you get that, where do you find that? Because I know when I was chapter director, I would repeat myself monthly, where are these documents? And it just, you know, goes in one ear and out the other. But, just push that and say, everything that I'm sitting here telling you is online. All the information you need, all these training that you're gonna go through all week. So when you go back home, and you what did Connie say about membership? Pull up the slideshow, the adjutant briefing, and you know, relook at it.
FloridaLegion.com.
Or-
Go to your chapter meeting and say, hey, look, I know some of you weren't able to attend Summit, but if you want to know what was taught, every one of the slideshows is on the resources tab.
And just remember, as this person of value, huge value, your director, all of the positions are very valuable. And try to keep an open mind. You're gonna get calls, you're gonna get texts, you're gonna get emails. And just remember, they don't know. So it's our duties to not only inform them, but encourage them and support them and build them up to, you know, be the next adjutant. Who knows?
Do be careful when you tell them where to go, and they start researching, they're gonna start calling you out.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they did the research and they went, they'll try to stump you.
And don't take it as a bad thing, like I said, I always like to hear from, somebody's reading it, somebody's actually looking at it, this is awesome. And if there's a mistake, I would love to know. We all need to know these things.
Okay.
I got a question. About the membership cards. You got members that are lifetime members. Does that lifetime member go on the actual card, or do they have to still go on yearly? Where you have to every year? So what if they were to not be part of the Legion anymore, but they still have a lifetime?
Yeah, it is chapter specific.
What if they, for whatever reason, are out of their respective families, and now they still have lifetime on their rider card, but yet they're not a Legion or anything?
You have to be.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You can't go to the
Well, I
VFW
understand
with
that
American
they
Legion
have to
card.
be, but
Your
is
lifetime
that card good for anything though? I mean, what is that card good for?
Our template that we
Your
have,
lifetime membership would end if you're no longer a member in good
Right.
standing, which means you have not paid your
I
legionary.
understand, but what good is the rider's card for? I mean, is it for just you have it done with lifetime?
It's just for you.
That's it, nothing
Just
for
for you.
anything?
We use the rider's card when we take a flag.
Get you a free beer or
We
anything.
put them next to the flag, take a picture of it.
Okay.
That's just district, that's Southwest area. We use our rider's cards for taking a flag. If we go to Northport, well, they steal the wrong flag usually.
Did they steal an award?
You know what Zane did with our lifetime? He's great ideas. He came up with a metal card that's really cool for our lifetime members. I thought that was
Nice.
That's what the public cards used to be, metal.
very
When you
nice.
vote, how do you verify membership? You gotta verify their current members, right?
Yes.
So that's what the cards are for.
yeah, but what he's saying is if it says lifetime member on it, then he can walk over, he cannot be a Legionnaire.
You can go anywhere and say, I'm gonna go lifetime
Yeah.
on this post.
But if you use a template that's on the website, it has an expiration date on it.
Are we talking just a rider?
Yes.
Lifetime?
Yes.
That's chapter specific. I don't have a lifetime member. You come to
Yeah,
my
right.
home,
I do.
you transfer to
We
my
don't have
house
a
and say you're a lifetime member? Not in my house.
Well, right?
But we're not on here.
That's talking about membership transfer. You can't transfer your lifetime.
Lifetime.
Again, chapter specific.
Did they answer your question?
Chapter specific.
Yes.
You can make a lifetime membership card if you have one at your chapter, whatever you want to do.
It was $200.
As long as everybody agrees.
Well, we write on it lifetime.
Well, thank you all for your time.
Good job.
Thank you.